Whether you're trying to lose weight, or you're looking to get big, you're concerned about your health, or you're just trying to look good, growing muscle is one of the best ways to dramatically increase your quality of living. But if you've ever tried to grow muscle, you know that the process of learning how can be confusing, frustrating, and difficult. In the future, it doesn't have to be that way. But in order to see how, we have to understand what it looks like to grow muscle today. And there's a muscle where I've been struggling to see growth. It's right here on my arm. I know it's not my bicep, and I know it's not my forearm. What would it take to learn to grow this muscle? Well, we'd need to figure out what the muscles of the arms are. So we did a search, and we found results like these. And if we go ahead and pick one and zoom in, we can see a diagram like this. And I think I can see what we're looking for. There's a muscle in between the bicep and the forearm, and it's called the brachioradialis. But now that we know the muscle, we need to figure out how to exercise it. So we'll do another search, this time for exercises. And we got results that look like this. To keep it simple, let's take the first exercise, a hammer curl. But I've already done hammer curls. Maybe the reason I'm not seeing growth is because I've been doing them wrong. It'd be great if I had an example that I could follow along to. So we can do yet another search, this time for a video. And after we look at some results like these, I can see what we finally wanted. But in order to answer our question, we had to do 3 separate searches on 3 separate platforms. And our path to getting an answer wasn't quite so simple. When we searched for muscles, we had to pick out of many diagrams. And we had to look at many different muscles we didn't need. After all, we were only interested in one, and we saw all of these. And when we searched for exercises, we also got a sample workout. Should we do both hammer curls and crossbody hammer curls in the same workout? It also recommends that we consider doing upwards of 13 sets for a single muscle in a single workout. Should we do that many? It also gave us some tips, and it recommends to avoid excessive wrist flexion. What is wrist flexion? Is it dangerous? And finally, when we searched for a video, we couldn't help but notice that hammer curls might be stupid. I thought the last search told us it was the best exercise. Are we stupid for wanting to do hammer curls? So we started with a simple question. And what we got were 3 fragmented, confusing responses, leaving us with more questions than we came in with. What would it look like to go back to our simple question and instead receive a single answer? What would it look like to use magni? Let's find out. When you open magni for the first time, you'll notice that we're ready to ask our question right away. How can I grow this muscle? Well, if it's this muscle on my body here, it must be the same muscle on the body in the app. So I can tap and search and see the results I want right away. And magni provides us with the 2 most important pieces of information we need to know in order to grow muscle. And the first is an example. And if I tap the up arrow on the right-hand side of the screen, we can zoom and see a beautiful example of how to do hammer curls. But that's not all. If I go back to our original search, I can also zoom in by pressing the down arrow to see the body and find out all of the information I need to know in order to understand how doing hammer curls impacts my muscles. At a glance, I can tell that I'm going to be using the forearm a little, the bicep a little more, and the, what was that muscle called? We're going to use the brachioradialis a lot. And we were able to find all of this information without ever having to type or to say the word brachioradialis. Isn't that incredible? But I'm not just interested in doing one exercise. I might want to do something else for the same muscle. So if I go back to my search, I can, of course, swipe. I can, of course, swipe to see the next movement. And once again, I can zoom in to see a beautiful exercise. And going back to the body once again, I can see all the information I need to know in order to understand how doing a pull-up impacts my muscles, both on the front side of my body, and if I swipe to the side, I can see that same beautiful information on my back. And it's not just for one muscle. I can tap on any muscle and perform the same search and get those beautiful examples and that beautiful information. And we now have everything we need in order to pick out movements and grow our muscles and strengthen our bodies, all in magni. But when we do a movement, now that we know which movement we're doing, we actually have to go ahead and lift the weight. And wouldn't it be great if the process of lifting weight was simpler and easier? We already have a lot of fitness technology out there today. Doesn't fitness technology help us answer that question of how to make our workouts simpler? Well, we asked. How can I use the existing technology in order to actively simplify my workout? Well, we could use technology before and after our workouts. And you might have a piece of pen and paper or an app on your phone to help you do planning and logging. Do planning and logging help us simplify our workouts? Well, when we're planning, we're marking events that we're going to do in the future. And when we're logging, we're recording events that we did in the past. But if we didn't log, and we didn't plan, and we just lifted the weight, our workouts would be simpler. And so we don't think that planning and logging help us simplify our workouts. Well, if we can't do something before and after our workouts, maybe there's something we can do during it. And the first thing that came to mind were fitness wearables. Do wearables help us simplify our workouts? Well, a wearable generates extra data about the body as we work out. Maybe it's your heart rate or your breathing. But extra data, no matter how well it's presented to you, is always going to be extra. And we don't want extra. We want to do less. So we don't think that wearables help us simplify our workouts. Well, what else can we do? Maybe you have a video saved to your phone that you like to follow along to. Can a video help us simplify a workout? And we think the answer is yes, but there's a problem. The second we want to do our exercises in a different order, at a different speed, or for a different number of repetitions, we need an entirely new video in order to follow along to. And so while a video can be great for simplifying a workout, it's not great for simplifying my workout. What would it look like to have technology that can actively simplify our workouts as we do them? Let's go back to that first exercise we wanted to try, the hammer curl. So now that I've done my search and I found the exercise I want to do, I can go ahead and tap play. And you'll see that Magni is ready and waiting for me to start my workout. And I can also see the number of repetitions that I want to do on the right-hand side of the screen. And I can configure that number by either tapping below or above, and also scrolling up and down anywhere on the screen in order to find my perfect number of repetitions. Let's try doing 15. And when I'm ready, I can set down my phone in a spot where I can see it and tap play. And Magni will start to count down, and while it is, I can pick up my weights and get ready to lift. And when Magni starts, I start lifting. And there's three things I'm doing right now. There's three things I'm not doing right now that I normally would be. Number one, I'm not worried about whether or not I'm doing the movement right, because I have a beautiful example to look at. As you can see, I'm also not counting my repetitions, because Magni is counting them for me. And finally, I'm not worried about the speed at which I'm lifting the weight, because I'm simply just following along to what Magni is doing. Isn't that incredible? And so by not worrying about about whether or not we're doing the weight right, by not worrying about counting our reps, and by not worrying about the speed at which we move the weight, we can do less as we work out and focus all of our time and all of our attention on the number one most important thing that you do during your workouts, which is to lift the weight. But I'm still trying to get this movement down. And I thought that pace was a little bit too fast for me to really understand it. Or maybe I like to do hammer curls with a bit of momentum. And so it'd be great if I could adjust the pace to fit exactly what I want to do. And that's okay, because Magni is made for you. If I tap the speed at the top of the screen, I can once again customize the speed that Magni moves to be exactly my liking. I can slow it down to really focus on getting the basics of the movement down. And I can also scroll upwards on the screen and watch Magni update in real time to be exactly how fast or how slow I want it to be. And so the next time I start a movement, Magni will move at my speed. But it'd also be nice if I had a little bit more time to get the perfect song on and my body in the exact right spot I need to be in order to do my best set. And so if you want to adjust the countdown, you can tap the timer at the top of the screen and set the countdown to be just right for your own pace that you move. So the next time you tap play, Magni will start counting down from 20. So you're all set for your best lift. But this screen is just a little too dark for me. Sometimes I like to work out outside where it's nice and bright, and I can never look at a dark screen like this. And Magni's paying attention to that too. When you open your device settings and switch to light mode, Magni and its graphics will update all throughout the app to look just as clear as it was when it was in dark mode. And I'm just remembering now that before I started presenting, I did a couple of push-ups that I never actually marked in the app. So let's go ahead and find those. I think I would search for the chest. And there they are. And I don't want to have to go ahead and press play and wait for a countdown so that way Magni marks my set as completed. It'd be great if I had an easy way to complete a set without having to do that. And so at the bottom of the screen, I can tap the blocks and see all of the information I need to know in order to mark my sets as completed and understand how the number of sets I do affects the muscles in my body. Earlier, I did 3 sets. And so as I tap to increase the number of sets, we can see the body respond in real time to indicate how intensely I'm targeting my muscles. We believe that the most important thing that you can do in the gym is to listen to your body. But if you need a quick understanding at a glance for how the number of sets you do impacts your body, that information is right here for you. And when you're ready, just like you would with any other checklist, you can tap a box at the bottom of the screen to mark them as completed and be done. But I'm ready for my next set of hammer curls. And I don't want to have to go back to the home screen and do another search for hammer curls. It'd be great if Magni was listening to my workout as I did it. So I can tap the dumbbell at the bottom of the screen and do a search to find my workouts. So I can see this workout that we started today, where we did both hammer curls and push-ups. And I can, of course, swipe to see the next workout that I did the previous day. And as I do so, I'm looking at the top and the body is updating to tell me exactly the muscles I used for that workout. And I can also search for workouts. Yes, that's right. We were targeting the brachioradialis today. So let's get back to this workout by pressing play. And I can see both of the movements that I already started all at a glance. And when I have a movement selected, I can tap to open it and do a set, and go back to my workout and easily hop right in to another set of push-ups. Let's go ahead and mark 3 sets of hammer curls as completed. And if I'm ever curious to know how these sets are impacting my body as a whole, for both of these movements, I can tap the information at the top of the screen and see every muscle that I've used so far this workout. With Magni, we can actively simplify and improve our workouts as we do them and gain a better understanding of how the movements we do affect the body. But a good workout can be done alone, but sometimes the greatest workouts are shared. And so whether you're a teacher in the classroom, a therapist working with a patient, a coach trying to strengthen your team, or a trainer working with a client, one of the toughest problems you deal with on a day-to-day basis is communicating the work that needs to be done. And so, if you tried to answer the question, what are we lifting today? You might respond with this. You might say, today we're going to hit back, or maybe the shoulders. You might respond with parts of the body, or even muscles. And if you wanted to be more specific, you might respond with different movements. Today we're going to do push-ups and pull-ups. And as I tell you more about the movements that we do, you get a better and better understanding of the muscles that are involved. But wouldn't it be better if instead of communicating with words to describe muscles, we could use the muscles themselves and the intensities that we use to target them? And instead of using words to describe a movement, we could use something that moves. We think that this improvement in how we communicate about our workouts is so important and so fundamental to how we lift that we call it the language of lifting. What would it look like to communicate in the language of lifting? And so here we are, back at our workout. And I don't just want to share this workout with one person. I think it's a great workout and I'd like to share it with each and every one of you. But there's one more exercise that I wanted to do. So I can tap to add a new one. I think I'll hit the shoulders today. I can search and add that movement right to my workout. And when I tap the information, I think this looks good. And I think this workout's so good that I want to share it with each and every one of you. And so if I tap share at the top, I can grab a QR code that each and every one of you can scan in order to follow along with this exact workout at home. But that's great for sharing with strangers. What if I want to share with family and friends? I can also tap share and grab a link and send it to anyone I'm interested in. Let's text my brother and say, hey, want to hit the gym? I was thinking about doing this. And so he can, of course, grab that same link and pull it up on his phone and collaborate with me by modifying the workout and sending it back to me in order to understand what it is we want to do in the gym and clearly communicate. Magni is the best way to communicate in the language of lifting. So when you think, how can I grow? Whether you're looking to explore how to strengthen and improve your workouts, to simplify your workouts and gain understanding as you do them, or to share in the language of lifting, Magni is the answer. And we've already seen today how Magni provides all of that beautiful information right at your fingertips on such a small screen like your phone. But it only gets better as you continue to increase the screen size. Magni was designed to work seamlessly on your tablet, your laptop, and your desktop. And Magni is available wherever you are. You can find it on the App Store, the Play Store, and in your browser. In the future, we can leave behind the nonsense of the fitness industry. In order to use Magni, there is no sign-up, no 7-day trial, and no subscription. Magni was made for the love of lifting, and Magni is 100% free. We've had a ton of fun making Magni, and we hope you love using it just as much as we do. My name is Trayson. Thank you so much for watching. And as for us, here at Magni, it's time to get back to pushing fitness forward.